Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of the Daily Debate. I'm Mohammed Abdelrahim, your host for tonight, and we begin our episode with our two top stories designated for tonight. As His Excellency the President received Mr. José Manuel Albares, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, European Union and Cooperation of Spain, and his accompanying delegation on Thursday. Presidential spokesman said the meeting discussed the current regional situation and the developments in the region, where President Sisi expressed his appreciation to the positive Spanish stance on regional issues, notably on the Palestinian issue, which is reflected in the ongoing coordination between the leadership of the two countries and the common vision that unites them in order to achieve peace in the region. For his part, the Spanish minister conveyed to President Sisi the greetings and appreciations of the Spanish Prime Minister, Sir Pedro Sanchez, and pointed out Spain's full support and backing for the tireless Egyptian efforts to try and reach a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and enforce humanitarian aid there, stressing the pivotal role played by Egypt regionally to stop the expansion of the circle of the conflict and to advance efforts to establish peace and achieve stability. And also on Thursday, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi in the presence of Ambassador Badr Abdel-Ati, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian Expatriates Affairs. The presidential spokesman stated that the meeting focused on reviewing the current developments in the region, where President Sisi stressed the Egyptian position, calling for not expanding the circle of conflict and the necessity of stopping the escalation to prevent slipping into a comprehensive, inclusive regional war, which will have serious repercussions on the security capabilities of all countries and peoples of the region. In this context, President Sisi stressed the necessity of continuing and intensifying international efforts aimed at stopping the war in Gaza and Lebanon, and stopping the violations and attacks in the West Bank, and implementing urgent and sufficient humanitarian aid to end the worsening suffering of civilians. For his part, the Iranian minister expressed his country's appreciation to the ongoing Egyptian efforts to try and achieve stability and security in the region, praising the Egyptian role in this regard. Now to our main topic for tonight. As part of the state's agenda to enhance the capabilities of Egyptian citizens, a new initiative was launched under the name The New Beginning to build the Egyptian human being, aimed at developing different sectors of life to achieve human development for all Egyptian families. The presidential initiative is an integrated strategy whose primary goal is human development and was implemented since the implementation of that initiative began on September the 7th of this year and should last for 100 days across all governorates. The initiative includes several axes such as enhancing national security, building the Egyptian human being, developing a competitive economy, achieving political stability, improving the health system, providing better education, securing decent job opportunities, and enhancing social protection. And we are glad to have with us here in the studio to discuss this topic Dr. Sayyid Al-Kholi. And Dr. Al-Kholi is the former Dean of the Faculty of Commerce at Ain Shams University. A very good evening to you, Dr. Al-Kholi. Always a pleasure to have you with us. Allow us first, Dr. Al-Kholi, and dear viewers, to watch a report about our main topic for tonight, and then we'll come back, dear viewers, thank you, and begin our discussion here.
Bidaya project is a presidential initiative that underscores the state's commitment to building the Egyptian individual and a decent life for all citizens across health, education, culture, sports, job creation, and engaging community members in decision-making process. It aims to ensure that all citizens benefit from the nation's resources fairly and effectively, promoting social justice and sustainable development across Egypt, the cabinet explained. Its main goals include preserving Egypt's national security and foreign policy, building human capacity, and boosting welfare, creating a competitive economy attractive to investment, and establishing political stability and national cohesion. This can be achieved by improving healthcare, education, and social protection, and creating more job opportunities. It will also focus on empowering women and youth and equipping them with the skills needed in the market. Moreover, the government stated that the project will involve coordinated efforts across various ministries, civil society organizations, and the private sector to maximize resource utilization and ensure that development benefits are shared widely. Bidaya aligns with Egypt Vision 2030, the National Dialogue's outcomes, and the government's work program. Bidaya initiative aims to enhance human capabilities and skills, create healthy and athletic generations that are culturally enriched, and uphold values, ethics, and principles with the support of Al-Azhar, the Egyptian Church, and the Ministry of Religious Endowments. Furthermore, it targets establishing creative and innovative generations capable of utilizing modern technology and possessing the skills and competences needed for the labor market.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and many thanks to Manal Al-Ibyari and Rasha Abdul Hamid for this report. We're back here in the studio with Dr. Sayyid Al-Kholi, the former Dean of the Faculty of Commerce at Ain Shams University. Dr. Al-Kholi, how do you see the initiative, the Bidaya presidential initiative?
I believe that is the most important initiative beside many other initiatives we saw in the last few years, and I believe going back to our basic values is very important, and building our own value system, which really we need it, especially in these days with the new generation, which I call it as Facebook generation or fast food syndrome generation, which really we forgot some of our values. So the initiative really came not only today or this year. It started a few years ago when President Sisi talked about a very important issue, developing human skills and human Egyptian personality to be proud of your citizenship. He started that a few years ago, and now we came with this initiative because if you look for the Egyptian population, over 60% of our population, it goes for young generation. And if we invest in this generation in terms of all different things, in terms of integrating our value system, and we should really be proud of being Egyptian and being proud of our value system, is very, very important issue. I believe I spoke about that like 30 years ago. And when we compare the value system among different country and different continent in the world, and this is published in 1992, I believe, we found out the Egyptian, whether they are in Egypt or outside of Egypt, in many different places, all generations, they still have Egyptian value up to this point of time, regardless which society they are living in. Going back to this issue, I believe it's a very important issue, and we should, all different ministry should work in this direction in order to build a new generation who believe in our value, believe in our culture, and we shouldn't really don't ever, I'm talking to our young generation, don't ever compromise your value system. Don't ever compromise your culture. Egyptian culture, it's stable for thousands of years, and when you go through management textbook and so on, you see our history. Really, we should be proud of our history, and I believe this initiative should be integrated in all different ministries, in education, for example, in communication sector, and so on. And we should really move because Egyptian value system is built on collectivism. But with the age of computerization and, as I mentioned before, fast food syndrome, we start to think in ourselves, I instead of we. I believe we should really work as a team. And if you recall with Dr. Zuhail, when we have interview in Egyptian TV, when the moderator, he said, you, no, he said, no, we work as a team. And that's part of the value system. Egyptians should work as a team, and we should integrate this team behavior in our curriculum from the beginning of our education. And this will help I have a meeting last night. I'm a board member in a society called the American Society for Competitiveness, and we are going to prepare ourselves for what is business and management should talk about next year 2025. And we came up with this title, Competitiveness and the Effect of Artificial Intelligence. So we should integrate our value system. We should integrate the new technology, new artificial intelligence techniques, and we should build in our society the teamwork orientation in our new generation. It's very important issue.
Dr. Kholi, you touched on so many important points, and I believe that you focused on what you call the value system and the cultural identity. So how important is it indeed, I mean, to keep the Egyptian identity, that unique identity that really unites all Egyptians, by the way? And we've always had the impression that, you know, being rich or poor, Muslim or Christian, old or young, I mean, educated or less educated, Egyptians are one. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, they've always been unified. There's something that so unique about Egyptian identity.
Absolutely.
So how important is it to preserve identity nowadays? And I mean, we're getting into the alpha generation now, and I mean, as you mentioned, 60% of the Egyptian population is a youth population. So I guess we have the alpha generation, and then the Z generation Z. So. And I want to link this with, we are in October. So October is the month of pride for Egyptians, the great victory of 73, the crossing of the canal. We want to keep this forever. I mean, this identity, it's part of our identity, amongst many other things. So how important is it indeed, the identity axis of this initiative? Because it has many also different axes, will roll over them later, but the identity axis.
I believe identity, as you mentioned, in October 73, it shows the value of Egyptian people. In two revolutions we have in 2011 and so on, we showed the identity of Egyptian people. We are united. Remember, we don't have division, and nobody, they tried several techniques in order to divide Egyptian in terms of religion, in terms of social status and so on, and it never been successful in Egypt. If you look for other countries around us, they did that, but in Egypt we are united. In Egypt the value system is built in, but we really should focus on that in our media, in our educational system, in all different means, in order to teach our kids the culture and history of Egyptian. Remember, in high school, for example, in Europe and in the States, for example, they have a complete Egyptology. They study the Egyptian history, Egyptian value system, and so on in their schools. How of this can be integrated in our curriculum system in Egypt? It's briefly touched here in our educational system, and that is the role of pre-university education. And even in university, we should really devote ourselves to go back to our basic value system: honesty, teamwork, orientation, equality, and so on. We really grow up with that. I remember the West judged us for our value system. I remember in the state, when I went to the state in 1983, and after a year and a half, I wasn't really, my English wasn't very good at that time, because I'm a graduated from public school and so on. It's not like international like what we have today. And after a year and a half, they gave me a post for adjunct professor to teach for American people in New York. So I asked the dean of business school at that time. He told me, we are watching every international student. The minute you walked in, we didn't change your value system. You didn't change your culture, and so on. You didn't say, because in New York, instead of saying water, they say water, you know, like an American, you know. He said, you kept your culture, you kept your value system. So if we stick to our value system, we can achieve success. If you look for the leading people, they got out of Egypt and became Nobel Prize and all other big figure. They really talk about Egyptian culture, and we really should focus on that. We should dress like that. Believe in our culture is very important.
These are very, very challenging times.
It is.
Dr. Al-Kholi, I mean, some of the axes in the initiative include economic and social dimensions, like developing a competitive economy, like enhancing social protection, and so on. So how challenging is it at these times when we're having really harsh economic problems? How important is it to stick together more and to unite more in order to preserve our culture and our identity, because the challenges are many?
The challenge is very high right now because of the inflation, because of what we see around us. In north, south, east,
regionally,
west,
yeah,
so
all
on.
around us, yes.
I believe the region on fire right now. And but remember one thing: we've been through other challenges 10 times what we have today, and we stood for it, and we really survived, and we came out of it. And that is the media effect. That is the negative effect they enforced on us in order to get through your value system, through what you believe. And I believe that is a threat facing young generation. And with that, we should really, the government, the private sector should work hard in order to really encourage like startup business, new initiative, and so on. And believing in teamwork orientation, believing in building, capacity building for our youth, we can get through this kind of situation we have right now.
Right. Some of the goals of this initiative is to have better health, better education, sports for all, more enhancing the skills of the youth. Talk to us about the importance of these parameters.
For example,
health,
there is
education,
initiative
sports, improving skills.
In terms of healthcare sector, for example, Dr. Kholi Abdel, he did a good job for 1 million or 100 days of healthy and so on, where you go through all governments and so on. which over, I believe, 94 million have been through that already. We went that direction. Another direction, it is simply education. It's really to integrate culture, integrate our value system in our educational system in all different pre-university and in university and higher study also. And if we really focus on that, we are going to see healthy, well-fit and culture-oriented people for the future. Also, we should really work in very hard in order to, as we mentioned before, 60% of our population is young generation. So we should really teach them what's new. As I told you with this board meeting, for example, artificial intelligence and all of that, it is, whether you like it or not, it will be in our life, and we should be prepared for that. Remember, the war now, it is not only Air Force or machine guns and so on. It's working through your mind. And with artificial intelligence, if we don't really be careful about it, it can really go through our life, through our culture, through our value system, and they try to eliminate it from us. We should really focus on that, and we should really build capacity, build our young generation through creativity and innovation in the future.
You talked about the value system more than once, Dr. Kholi, and surely institutions like Al-Azhar or the church and schools and universities must have a role in upholding the system of values. How do you see the importance of the role of such institutions?
I believe in Al-Azhar institution and the church institution in Egypt. They're doing a great job when it comes to that direction. Remember, value system is not only a religion, but value is driven from the religion. And I always say, very important, what's value is what you say is what you do. So if the say is the same as do, we are healthy nation. But if you say and the do is different, we have a corrupted value. So that's very important. What you say is what you do. What you say in terms of your religion, whether you are a Muslim, Christian, or whatever, whether you are highly educated or middle level educated or not educated, is say versus do. Say and do is very important to have a good value system, regardless which religion you are in.
Absolutely. Dr. Al-Kholi, dear viewers, allow us to watch another report about the Bidaya initiative, and then we'll come back and continue our discussion. And more of the axes and parameters of this presidential initiative in this report.
Bidaya initiative aims to develop the government's sports, health, education and culture sectors, strengthening the role of the public and private sectors and civil society in providing services and achieving integration among them. The project also seeks to update laws with the help of the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of Parliamentary and Legal Affairs and Political Communication, ensure social protection through the Ministry of Social Solidarity, and develop local communities supported by the Ministry of Planning, Economic Development and International Cooperation and the Ministry of Local Development. The initiative's Facebook page also highlights the project's core idea of creating a pathway for Egyptian citizens towards self-development and cultural enrichment, aiming to establish an educated, empowered, knowledgeable and ethical individual. Egyptians will feel the project's impact across all aspects of life through various services, activities and programs tailored to diverse age groups. This will enhance the quality of life and raise awareness, strengthening their sense of national belonging and responsibility. Egypt's Human Development Index, HDI, is 0.7, which reflects a very high human development. The initiative targets all age groups and various segments of society, especially children and youth, as the nation's future per the statement. Infants up to 2 years old will benefit from vaccination, adequate nutrition, and family guidance, ensuring healthy development. For children aged 2 to 4, the Ministries of Social Solidarity, Education, Youth and Sports, and Health will provide access to nurseries and kindergartens, KG1 and KG2, with curricula designed to foster skill development and learning through discovery. School-aged children up to 18 years old will receive courses in science, art, sports, language development, history, culture, technology, and job market preparation to equip them for the future. For 18-year-olds and above, the focus will be on skills development for the labor market and future jobs through specially designed courses supervised by the Ministry of Higher Education. For the elderly aged 65 and above, the project is designed to enhance their health and living conditions.
Thanks again, Manal Al-Ibyari, for this report. And back here in the studio with Dr. Saeed Al-Kholi, the former Dean of the Faculty of Commerce at Ain Shams University. Dr. Al-Kholi, some of the parameters of this initiative aim to raise the awareness of Egyptians when it comes to issues of national security or foreign policy, and to encourage Egyptians to be part of the decision-making process in issues that touch upon their lives directly, social and political, economic issues. Tell us about the importance of these points, please.
In the beginning of this program, you mentioned October 6, 1973. Remember all the parameters, all the data given to our leader at that time, it gave you the idea, the decision not to go into war. Believe the Egyptian, their belief, the Egyptian with their value system, the Egyptian with their will, with the determination, they crossed the Barleaf line, which we have the image, it will never be destroyed. And really, with the war, we won the war, and with the initiative of peace, we won our land back. Sinai, it's completely now, it's the Egyptian peninsula right now. And going back to the issue of national security, remember when our educational system, for example, right now, you can see it in anywhere in the world. We have American, we have a British, we have Indian, we have Pakistani, we have Russian, we have Greece, we have Germany, and so on. And all of this is different culture. We have it here in Egypt. So with each system, they learn their system, they learn their culture. So when you have a multicultural inside our culture, that is a deviation, and it will affect our national security in the future. That is very important. It is not only our kids, but the parents of these kids. That is, I consider it as alarming, and we should really be careful with this, because in a way or another, it will affect our identity, and when you lose your identity, you can lose your national security.
Dr. Al-Kholi, empowering youth and empowering women is an important part of this presidential initiative, Bidaya, and empowering them when it comes to creative and creativity and innovation, and developing their skills and utilizing modern technology, something very important in today's world, in order to be competitive out there in a global oriented market. Again, the issue of empowering women, empowering youth, developing their skills, and especially when it comes to the use of technology, how important is it?
I always say when you have a will, you have a drive. So empowerment is very important. Not only empowering women, but empowering every Egyptian citizen to be part of the team, to be part of the development of Egypt. I believe if you take, you mentioned creativity and so on, it doesn't come from the gloom creativity. Look for our educational system, look for our knowledge system. And the bottom, which is known by heart, which is our kids, our generation, they know by heart. And the second level is to analyze, synthesize, and the top of the pyramids is creativity and innovation. In order to reach creativity and innovation, and that's what multinationals require right now. They don't really demand which grade in education you have, which school you graduate from. You are able to create something out, you can innovate something, you can add value to our company, to our society, and so on. And that is this empowerment. It's really, it doesn't come overnight. It takes a long period of time in order to empower all Egyptian people, whether from gender, whether from age, and so on. It takes a lot of time, and it takes the effort of all different people in the government, in the private sector, in educational sector, and so on. So in order to empower people, you have to give them the incentives, the light at the end of the tunnel, what this empowerment will lead to in the future. That is very important. So we have to set really goal. We should be goal oriented. We should develop a strategy in order to reach the optimum for empowering all Egyptian people. It takes time.
It does.
Yeah.
And how do you see this initiative, Dr. Kholi, moving forward? I mean, what is it that you want to see in the initiative that is not there? What are the most important points you believe that exist in this initiative, and how beneficial to society this initiative potentially can be?
I will go again with say and do. We have the say, we have the documentation, we have the plan, we have the action plan. Let's go to reality and see the result on reality. That is, do is very important. It's more important than say. We have the say, and now it is the time for do. So the do, it should be integrated all different ministry in Egypt. It should be integrated all private sector and public sector in the initiative. We should really integrate our the success story we have in Egypt in order to really enhance and develop our new generation from this initiative. The initiative, it doesn't take a year or two. It takes a long period of time to achieve the end analysis of this kind of initiative.
Right. And dear viewers, on this note and on behalf of you, we thank very much our dear guests with us here in the studio, Dr. Saeed Kholi, the former Dean of the Faculty of Commerce, Ain Shams University. It's always a pleasure to have you with us,
The same,
Dr.
yeah.
Kholi,
Thank you
and
very
hope to
much.
see you again.
And keep hope alive. Yeah.
Yes, indeed, very important point there, as all the points really mentioned by our dear distinguished guest here with us in the studio. Thank you very much, Dr.
You're very
Kholi.
welcome.
And thank you, dear viewers, for watching the daily debate. And please stay with Nile TV.